Good afternoon to all of you. So,
I've given them a background
on
the format.
Okay.
Motamoti, and then we can start.
So this is the second session. New experiment, I would say.
Yeah.
Which we are part of. On the first session was held about a month back.
That's right.
Then we had
trust
groups A and
Uni. This is BNC.
Yeah, BNC.
Yeah.
So we did that session for 3 hours, and we had a format which was very participative also. Wherein different topics of HR, we asked each person to talk about best practices. And we went around the table. Then I talked about what I learned from them in my view on this. Reflections from each member. And the good thing I've seen it in any forum where you have 8 or 10 or 12 members who are part of trust, who are capable, you will get most of the answers. So I've gone prepared with my thoughts in advance, and then when you look at whatever thoughts had emerged, most of the questions were represented. So I think that was that format, but people expected a lot coming from me rather than coming in from themselves. So I think we decided to change the format a little bit based on the first meeting. Number 2, the group size was too large. Because 23 meant that people, by the time everybody got a chance, it was taking a long time. So we restricted this interaction to only 4:15. So I think with that we can start. I just want to introduce Swati, who is part of our HR function.
Hi. Swati, part of the HR function, which Harsh has already mentioned, and been with Marico for almost 7 years now. So we look forward to a very good interactive session with all of you.
And Mr. would like to
Yeah. So
he's doing a story on asset. He's a deputy editor of Fortune, but why back here?
sir, well, I've been with Fortune for 3 years, a little after they started, but I've had 15 years experience in covering the corporates in Mumbai. And I'm very, very keen on family entrepreneurship, and I feel that it's at a time when people and skills are the most important thing for people to execute businesses. Right? And this forum, I think, is just bringing people to execute their ideas much, much better and through an interactive medium. And that I found was very, very interesting. And I haven't seen many of this in a very organized sort of fashion. It happens as forums and groups elsewhere. But what I found about this was that it had a certain basis, which I think could be an example for many other forums. So that's why I was interested in it.
But I also have one of my friend's son who made a request that can he attend, so I asked him to come in. Deepak's son. No. So I think with that we can just go the round of introduction. I don't think everybody, or does everybody know each other?
Not everybody. Not everybody. We could. I think that would be a good idea. So quick name, enterprise.
Can I sit there? I'm more comfortable
You
sitting
here?
there. Yeah.
I thought you all have to sit.
Come, you took because I think some notings will have to be typed and put it on the.
That was the idea, because we were first trying to get the SN logo. You want to come? You come.
Yeah, I'm not.
Please, yeah.
Comfort zone. In the Lord's.
Samir, company's name is Select Controls. We manufacture electronic industrial measurements and controls and sell them in retail outlets in India and abroad.
Hi, my name is Amit Ramsinghani. I'm into manufacturing CNG and industrial gas cylinders. My factory is in Gujarat, it's a family business.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Vishal Sangvi. I'm from Phoenix Group. I'm from the Setu Infocom. We have license from Department of Telecom for internet services and internet telephony service provider. I'm in my business since last 12 years to provide the internet telephony service like Skype. And currently our 95% is out of India. Now we have planned to scale up by expanding business in India. So one good people can connect other good person. So I am a time member since last 5 years where I got connect with Manik, and then I come to connect with the SN. Thank you, Manik.
Hi, I am Madhav. I am part of Krypton Group. He is my colleague in Krypton Group, Samir. we both are into from. I represent Auditime Information Systems. Auditime is into software testing services. We provide software testing for BFSI segment. This year, in 2014, Government of India issued permissions to private party for doing software testing of e-governance solutions. So ours is the first and only private company who is authorized to do software testing for e-governance solutions. So I represent Auditime and I'm part of the membership director's team.
Hi, my name is GC. I represent Buzzworks. We have two lines of businesses. We do payroll outsourcing, people outsourcing for BFSI and telecom, and our software arm also does computer telephony solutions. We make the phone smarter as opposed to making it smarter.
Hi Harsh, hi Mana, hi friends. I'm Vikram Bhatt. I'm co-founder of Elrich Salon and Academy. 16 years journey, 54 outlets, 100 of people. That's how it is.
Rohan Batra. Currently, I'm the president of the Italian sportswear brand Fila for India in the South Africa.
Hi, Nakul Toshriwal. I have a company called Toshan Analytical. We distribute service, sales, marketing of high technology instruments for pharmaceutical, chemical, food testing.
Hi everybody, I'm Amish Masuraker. I'm director in AIOCD AVAX, which is into pharma market research and supply chain solutions. So we are into getting electronic data from unorganized retail.
Hi everyone, I'm Kinjal Gandhi, new member in National 3 months old, and I'm a director in Compress India Private Limited, family-run company. We are into all kinds of storage solutions, compactors, cross-panning, warehousing and material handling solutions, pan-India organization, and also being export to 3 different countries.
Okay, good. Thanks a lot. So what we'll do this time is actually Manak has captured a lot of issues which each of you may have highlighted, and we'll take that up a little later in the second phase of the afternoon. But the first phase I wanted to experiment with 2 or 3 stories and what are the learnings about the story, because I think that will answer some of the questions which you may have raised. So a lot of answers will come from these stories. So as I talk about, there are 3 different stories. When I talk about these stories, I want you to think through this, and you will just have, after the end of each story, I will ask each of you to get what you learned. So it will be some degree of storytelling, some degree of participation. And I think that will try and then we will take up separately Q&A and hi Kunal. We will just begin. Kunal, as I said, he's not an SL member, but he's a son of a very good friend of mine. So Kunal, can you just do a one-line introduction of what you're doing?
Hi.
Or 1 line or 1 minute.
I'll try and keep it as short. I'm Kunal Premaran. I'm the CEO of the ICS group. We're into different businesses. Retail, real estate is a big component of what we do. We've got a hospitality venture for the boutique luxury hospitality sector, car park management company as well, small asset management business. I look at the real estate side of the businesses. Our chairman looks at the financial services and the corporate finance side of the business. So, in a nutshell, that's what we do. Multiple businesses related to real estate, most of them, and that's my forte.
Thank you. Come, you're getting a chair here. Come this side, you're getting a chair here. Here, go. Manisha, sorry.
We can just shift here.
Apologies, I am late.
There's a chair there.
Yeah,
please.
Quickly, apologies, I'm late. It's not normally what I like to do. Manisha Sangani. I have a retail chain of stores and I build a lot of brands. Everything to do with time industry. And my motto is time is beautiful. So moving from time as a timekeeping device, we say it's an accessory that makes your day better.
Okay, so we'll begin with the first story. Yeah? It's not a real story. But I think there's a lot of learning. So this story happened in a village which is near Bombay, about 4 kilometers from Bombay. And one of the lads from the village passed his SSC exam. He failed. And his parents were very, very disappointed. He couldn't face his friends, nor his family. So he actually was so embarrassed that he ran away from his home. He had borrowed some money from one of his friends. And just ran away from the village and came to Bombay. And he was so determined that he wanted to go himself and get it. So very strong degree of determination because he was actually almost like an outcast. So after reaching Bombay, he roamed around the streets of Bombay and he was searching for a job. Until one fine day, a cycle repairer, he noticed the boy and he realized that he's from the same village as he was from. So he identified and he said, why don't you ask him what you're doing? I'm looking for a job. Saying, okay, you're from the same village, so I'll why don't you come and start working? So he started working with him in the cycle repair shop. So initially he gave him things like very simple things to do in cycle repair, just clean the cycle, wash it, and the boy would just try and do the best job of it. He would do an excellent job of cleaning the cycle, washing it. Whenever he had customer, he would just fix it. So then the owner realized that this guy has got more motivation, he's trying hard. So he said, okay, he started teaching one by one how to repair a puncture tire, and then how to do accident jobs. And then if something went with the cycle, chain repair, whatever. And then over a period of time, he started doing everything. And he did really excel on each other. So owner was very happy, and then in the meantime, he had a very good disposition in terms of his behavior. He was very popular. So everybody loved this guy and wanted their cycles to be repaired by this individual. He started painting also the cycles. So he became an all-rounder in terms of whatever one had to do. And as he started doing more and more, he started earning more money. And then at one stage, the owner realized that he is such a big asset that I have to engage him and I have to ensure that he continues. So he made him a partner. So from nothing to over a period of time through hard work and all of things, he became a partner. He became very, very popular in the neighboring area where he was doing work because of his way he was doing the work. And all of them wanted the cycle to be repaired. At the same time, there was another boy in the same village, and he passed the SSC exam in first class with distinction. His parents were very happy. There was a lot of jubilation in the community. The parents distributed sweets, and then a cousin of this boy wrote to the parents saying that he can get a job for this guy in a telephone company. And this is an old story, about 20-year-old story. But just look at the gist of the story. So why don't you send him to Bombay and he'll work in the Indian telephone industries. Good, well-paid job. So there was a big send-off in the village for the boy. And when he reached the factory, he realized that all he had to do was to fit the telephone, the main thing handle with a earphone. And so all he had to do was that, and every day he would go to work. He had good salary, but his job was so mundane, so boring. He was completely demoted. Because he was doing the repetitive job day in, day out. The first day the supervisor showed him how to handle the job. And every day would go to work and do nothing but fit the mouthpiece to the earphone. 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, same thing. The job remained the same. It was very monotonous, very boring. He never learned any new skill. And he dreaded going to work. Now I want you to compare these two different examples. And let's identify what are the key learnings out of these in terms of the experiences. So, Florida.
First, sorry, may I ask?
Yeah, anybody can start.
One very interesting takeaway I got was this guy, the second guy, he became a celebrity at a young age. So sort of celebrity in the sense, extinction, village mein, everybody's congratulating him. Immediately what happened was his expectation bar was set at this level, like, okay, this is what probably is the best. The other guy had got very, he had fallen all expectations. So it was like whatever he gets is an opportunity for him to only improve. I'm sure the second guy, when he got that job in IT, in the telephone company, I'm just saying IT, that must have been the high point of his life. He said, yes, I have achieved it. Until boredom sets in. While the other guy is always looking in for more and more opportunities, knowing fully well that this is something which is not, this is not his path. He can do more. Wanted to prove himself, prove himself, better himself, do better than what he was yesterday. So sort of, one big learning is where do you set the expectation bar of yourself? Is the
May I just ask, what is the perspective with which we are viewing this?
I think the whole objective is what motivates people to work.
Okay, what motivates people to work is the perspective.
In a job, what motivates? Ultimately, how do you ensure that people in your organization are motivated to work? How are they engaged? And through this story format. Because if you really analyze what
For this particular one, I was just asking so that we can.
Sure.
Determination is the key factor out here. Just from the base of the story, first guy, from nothing he had to prove himself, so he was determined. He knew that he had to continuously outdo his own self, work in different areas. Whereas the second guy, while his expectation was set, at the same time he realized that he started a new job. Now with that job, if he would have done well and try to explore something along the lines of is there something else I can do to add value to this job I'm doing, maybe he would have had a similar path in his own organization. And that's something that we don't see happening just on the basis of what
I think both of you touched the same thing about self-determination, whatever. I'm now wanting to look at what is the organization side one needs to do. What are the things?
I think what is really coming out is that while the cycle repair shop owner recognized this person's keenness and gave him that opportunity from time to time to grow and to give himself a better, a different and a bigger role in what he was doing. Whereas in the other company, there was no scope for that person to find his way out upward.
I think taking on from what he just said, what all entrepreneurs need to do is that we need to set in something where we have a constant interaction, give an opportunity for the graduate to say why he's not motivated and figure out what would take. So there has to be a interaction to make sure that the person is motivated and within the mundane job, what can be made interesting to make him look at enhancing productivity, profitability or some number. So there could be an interaction with the speed he's working on and how could that better.
I think the second thing was what I understood is that it's not relevant alone. Recognizing a person's potential is not about his qualification. It's irrespective of that very often.
That's why I think one very important thing, entrepreneurship aside, just treating these two people as doing a unit of work, I think the important difference between the bicycle shop guy, irrespective of whether he's partner or not, because remember he was doing good work before he became a partner, so it's not that's not causation. I think the most important thing was that the cycle shop guy could see the impact of his work on a day-to-day basis with customers. Whereas the person fixing the headset to the phone, he's just a cog in a wheel, right? So there is no impact. I can't understand what the final impact of my work is, which is directly related to motivation.
So I'm just trying to capture what so far it has happened. One of them mentioned learning on the job. So I think when you design careers, when you design actually your organization structure, how can you go on enhancing learning on the job is a very good challenge for all of them.
Nurturing is the key word, right?
Sorry?
Being nurtured.
Nurturing is a part of learning, but nurturing is basically if he doesn't know, then you help him learn through nurturing approach. But I think the end result is you want learning on the job to occur. The other thing which I mentioned just now is what is the meaningful task? Am I seeing the meaning behind my task, or is it just in the plain things? But there are still many more learnings which I want to try. There are, at least as far as there are 4 or 5 more learnings.
One more is ownership. Clearly this person is a partner. So not only is he impactful, but he also owns the business, both in the
That happened over a period of time, but more importantly autonomy. He was doing things on his own, and he was given full autonomy of learning and then getting things.
And also mastery. This person was very good at what he did. That's very, very important. I think it's very important to have mastery.
Akshay? Yeah, first guy want to discover his expertise, so he run away. And when people are happy from his work, then he decided that he has discovered his skill and expertise and continue with success. Second guy didn't get opportunity to participate, and he feared that he's losing his confidence. So this is I.
So what is learning from an organization point of view? You mentioned what I mentioned earlier, but I think I want to do a little more insight. So what would you do? And what is learning out of this which you can apply to your own organization?
In our organization, we need to ensure that there is a career progression for each and every role, right? Again, depending upon individual's motivation level, and some people are good at doing repetitive jobs, but some people always.
I think what you mentioned is job variation. Job variation also is very important. People get bored, And especially youngsters, they get bored very fast.
So I think
on that, just let me say one thing. At least we ensure that on average one person stays. I mean, she may be in HR, but she must have within HR. You must have shifted how many jobs?
This is the third or the fourth.
So how can you design your careers in such a way that you go on providing your experience, not for the sake of doing it, but where there is a good fit between the organization and the person. So I think it's very important that if you want to retain good talent, you have to look at, step yourself into the shoes of the person with whom, and then try and see whether that person's goals are matching with your journey of the organization. Can you put them into roles where they also get some job variation? Because if it is repetitive again and again and again over a period of time, especially good talent will not stay. If it is a very average talent, they don't mind staying because they're not working. So job, I'm coming back to the third point I want to make was, fourth point was job variation. It's important to build in job variation, especially amongst where you are using talented. Yeah, you're saying something?
Yeah, I thought probably this guy, he had no reputation to fall back on, but he had good potential. While the other guy had got a good reputation, probably his potential was sort of killed by the organization. So, even a person with no reputation or mediocre reputation, if he's got potential, he should be a good candidate to be picked. I don't know how to identify it.
I have a question on job variation. I just want to know how Marico does it. Do you do it in the department, like HR goes to
We
HR
do
only,
it in department only also, but a lot of it happens within that function. When we talk about
So we have some regular online, we have an annual process basically where people capture their aspirations. And we at the same time, though they talk about their short-term aspirations as well as long-term aspirations, at the same time we also understand these aspirations can change also. So today I am doing something and that's how I think my future will be, and I want to do, let's say, some more work in the area of HR in the next 2 years. But actually next year when I see some more things happening inside Marico, I'll see what is happening in the external environment, my aspirations accordingly can change. So every year we ask people to write down their aspirations. The supervisor also explains it to them what else can they do, where else they are good at. And as and when any such suitable opportunity comes up, people make that move. So For example, just to share one example, last year we had two ladies, who had been with Marico for 3 years or so. One in the area, one who was in the HR department, other was in finance. And basis various projects they had done, various exposures they had, both of them said they want to become an area sales manager, and that too in general trade, not even the big supermarkets and all, but actual area sales manager for general trade. So we had those career dialogues with them to understand what is their strength, what is their interest area, will that match? And both of them actually are now a area sales manager in Marico. One is in Calcutta, the other is in Hyderabad. So those forums and those opportunities really help. And then any which ways, there are a lot of people who move within the department, so within, let's say, a finance, there will be a business finance, commercial role, corporate finance, whatever. They move and they understand that to grow, it is very important to have that different kind of exposure, and that's how one will grow, and that's how various people will actually report into them. They will be able to make a much more sound business decision, if they have those exposure and have their line of sight. So that's how it really helps. These are just few recent examples.
Just to give just capturing what the person wants, reassessing that person's fit, and then putting them in growth. So sometimes you take risk, and in this case you have taken some risk, but it's okay to take risk at junior, middle level. We put two HR girls into the field itself. What else? There are some other models.
I think from an organization point of view, looking at attitude, I think recruiting for attitude and promoting for attitude. It's not only skills that matter, but identifying based on, I think it's similar to what is being said, but looking at attitude is important.
What are the other learning from this case?
Smaller organization, it's easier to do the job variation and enhancement. In a larger organization, as you grow larger, I think you need to do a lot more efforts to have those systems and processes in place to see that you identify,
Actually, the other way around. In a larger organization, it's easier to do because within finance we have 10 different. Go on dividing, starting with taxation to this. So there are opportunities of shifting are better. Once the organization is large, full system will be there in the organization.
So empowerment, I think, is the key, because there the owner is directly seeing and being able to take the right decision.
So just to capture what the other learning which have not yet come out, I think one is the social support. That person was getting a lot of social support. So what is the culture in the organization? Is that person who is working, is he getting social support? Here in this case, you are there. I told you about how other people were mixing with him. As against that, this fellow was doing a lonely job. So the social support you create within the organization, where people mix with each other. Am I able to relate to my whatever who is sitting next to me? Just in terms of talking to, is he helping me? Am I feeling comfortable? Do I have a best friend in the world? That's very important to create that culture where people feel at home down the line and not just work in isolated workplace. The last part is desirable future. We started off with washing the cycles to all the way to handling all the cycles. So every few months he went on seeing that his role went on improving. So he saw much more desirable future which made him go. As against that other chap who was doing the same job again, he didn't see any future at the end of the 2-3 years. So just to give, these are some of the learnings out of this. I thought I'd just experiment with this story format, and it's different than me talking straight away what are the learnings or what should the HR be doing in terms of retaining people or motivating people or creating the right culture for where people can come in. So I'll take 2-3 examples like this. Second one is not an example, it is more like it's a statement I want you to reflect upon. Normally they say don't treat men like machines. Have you heard this? Don't treat men like machines. I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying treat men like machines. I want you to think about why you should treat men like machines. And I'll give some figures. What do you do when I'm talking of big machinery? What do you start doing when you're to invest in machines? Yeah.
I think it starts with you check out the best prospects you can get, the longevity and which is the best, the productivity that you can get, and beyond that you look after how you're going to enhance the life of the machine by constantly, what is it called, oiling it and whatever is the requirement, which we don't do.
One is why you are taking machines. Number two,
Yeah.
what can the machines do? What are the options available?